Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special emergency podcast episode of the Navs Effect podcast with me, your host, Naveen Ganglani. Thanks so much for those tuning in live, and even if you're catching this on replay on Spotify, much appreciated as well, or the other platforms. So, we're not going to take a lot of time for this podcast episode. It's going to be quick. It's just me getting off what I feel right now is a million different thoughts about this has to be the craziest trade ever in NBA history, at least in my lifetime. I don't know about the others listening or tuning in right now if you guys feel the same. But what out of nowhere, batshit crazy, never thought that would happen deal that materialized out of nowhere happened like this before we knew it. I mean, at least in my time watching the NBA, the Pau trade wasn't this shocking. Maybe the Paul George to the Clippers trade. That was quite crazy because that came out of nowhere. But that was for like Shea, who at that time wasn't exactly a star yet, and many draft picks. And then it kind of made sense the more that you realize it because Kawhi was going there, so Paul George followed. This is just on a different level. Anthony Davis playing like a top 10 player again in the NBA this season goes to Dallas, and in return, the Mavericks send the guy who just led them to the NBA Finals last season, Luka Doncic. Now, there have been theories why that might be the case. Maybe Dallas wasn't comfortable investing long term in Luka, who's bound for an extension, the richest extension in NBA history, because of conditioning issues or maybe something that hasn't been reported yet. At face value, though, it's insane to think that Dallas had the superstar who led them to the finals and also another Western Conference Finals appearance before, and had someone who would be an MVP candidate for at least what the next 8-10 years, assuming he stays healthy, and traded him for AD, who again, I said, AD is a top 10 player in the NBA this season, but he's 31. He has like a few more years left on his prime. So Dallas literally pounced on what I think is the second best trade value asset in the NBA, Luca, right behind Wemby, for a win now move with AD, Kyrie, Dinwiddie, PJ Washington, Clay Thompson, Gafford, Lively. I mean, it looks good on paper, but is that team certainly winning a championship? I think they can make the finals, but ultimately the question will be asked is, was it worth it to give up on Luca for this move? Will it yield the championship? We'll see. I feel like there's another move here for Dallas. It's step one of something else they're doing. Who knows? Maybe the next move is Jimmy Butler, and then you bank on the big three of Kyrie, Butler, and AD. I'm not even sure if it's possible because of the strict NBA salary cap rules, but I'm assuming there is a way it could work, although a little hard, like I said. But does that win you a championship? It's insane. Anyway, let's look at the whole trade first. What was the entire package? Okay, so the Lakers received Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleba, and Markieff Morris. The Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Kirsty, and a 2029 Los Angeles Lakers first round pick. Max Christie has also been playing better as of late, so that's a good pickup for Dallas. The Jazz get Jalen Hood Shafino, a young player who hasn't exactly popped for the Lakers. They were part of this trade, the Utah Jazz. It was a three-team trade. They also get a 2025 Clippers second round pick, which I think came from the Mavs, and a second round pick of Dallas in 2025. So the Jazz, to some degree, kind of act as like the a third team and get like a few assets for it. But anyway, this was really a Lakers Mavericks trade. A few more pieces of information that at least we've seen come out so far. So Anthony Davis has waived his trade kicker to go to Dallas. According to Mark Spears, NBA journalist, word is new Mavs forward Anthony Davis is good with going to Dallas and has a solid relationship with team president Nico Harrison dating back to the latter's Nike days. Harrison, Dallas's GM, used to be a high ranking executive with Nike. Nike has quite a few athletes, including Anthony Davis. Now, Davis, Mark said, also has centers to play next to him in Dallas. Take note, it wasn't that long ago that Anthony Davis had a sit down interview with Shams Charania saying basically that he needed another center to play with on the Lakers. Now, why is that important? According to Brett Siegel, another guy who reports in the NBA, he says the early word he heard on all of this was, quote unquote, apparently a rift had been forming between Anthony Davis and Lakers management, especially after his sit down interview with ESPN. This trade just came together in the last few hours with nobody around the league knowing about it. Mark Stein of Steinline, another NBA reporter, actually tweeted that the Mavericks were working with on their own extension with Luca as late as today. And this trade materialized out of nowhere. Just today it was finalized. No one really knew what to expect. No one knew it was coming, and it hit like a bomb. A crazy, crazy trade, if you can call it. Mark Stein, well, yes, Mark Stein also said, or it was probably another reporter, that the Mavericks themselves approached the Lakers for this trade offer. They were willing to give up Luca, so that makes you pause for a second. Why would Dallas, after seeing firsthand what Luca has done for them since they drafted him to be their franchise cornerstone, give up on Luca? Interesting. That is the outlying question right here. Immediately, I had a million questions. Like, why would Dallas give up on Luca? Like I just said. Did LeBron approve this deal? Because we know LeBron tends to play superstar GM sometimes. Considering he and Anthony Davis have been very, very close friends since AD got to the Lakers, why would Dallas sacrifice 10 more years of an NBA caliber player? Again, it goes back to why Dallas would give up on Luca. We also get to see LeBron and Luca play together. That's a point of interest because it's like seeing two superstars, but that's more of the aesthetic and basketball side of things. Now, we need to get to a post here by Ramona Shelburne, one of the most respected NBA reporters for ESPN. Does a lot of great in depth stories. So, and I see all your comments, by the way, guys. Keep them sending. I'll get to them in a bit. Ramona says, wrapping my head around this with everyone else. But the biggest thing to know is the Lakers have been led by generational superstars throughout their history. That is very true. Will Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, George Mikan, if you go back in the day, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol to some degree, not really a generational superstar, but he was traded to them in a superstar kind of way. LeBron James, and now Luka Doncic. Anthony Davis as well, but now Luka Doncic. Luka continues the Lakers tradition of having superstars. And I saw a post earlier by my sister, Nicole, and my thoughts are with her. For those who know, if you know, you know. This is the reason why Lakers fans continue to make jersey swaps online of your team's superstar, your favorite team superstar in a Lakers jersey, because one way or another, the Lakers just always end up getting these guys. Now, to continue on Ramona's post, this was an opportunity too good for them to pass up on after the Mavericks called. So, again, what's being leaked out there is that the Mavericks initiated this deal. Also worth noting, Mavs GM Nico Harrison worked closely with Kobe Bryant, again, the Nike connection, throughout his career, and Lakers GM Rob Pelinka was obviously his agent. So there is a relationship here between Pelinka and Harrison, and I think that led to the deal because these relationships matter when making trades in the NBA. Let's see. Let me just check if I missed on other important forms of information here. Again, yes, does this mean that maybe Dallas is going for Luka Doncic? I mean, for Jimmy Butler? Hmm. Dave McMenamin, who is a Lakers reporter for ESPN, said LeBron James learned of the Davis Doncic trade after the Knicks game, which the Lakers won pretty impressively today without AD, When it broke while he was out to dinner with his family, sources close to James told ESPN. James was surprised by the news, is processing it, and had no idea it was in the works. So that's some of the information that we have so far. And you can already see all, ooh, looks like a tweet just came out. Oof. Okay, so apparently in NBA Insider at Sports Rater, Reiter of CBS Sports, had just said, quote unquote, LeBron had grown frustrated with Anthony Davis. And LeBron retweeted this with the caption, "You FKN lie," with the Pinocchio long nose emoji and the clown emoji. Anyway, the whole world, whether local sports, international NBA people, all of these guys have been reacting online, posting emojis, posting their thoughts. It's such a shocker. Until now, does can anyone comprehend this? I mean, would you be surprised if you woke up tomorrow morning and you found out this was all a dream? That's how crazy it is. Now, who won the trade? Someone asked me this in the comments section. It's really too early to tell, to wait and see approach. I think this definitely was a move by the Lakers with the thought of, okay, we're probably not winning the NBA championship this year. Luka's still injured, and they get significantly worse defensively by trading AD because now you're playing Reeves, LeBron, Luka, maybe Dalton Connect. These are multiple guys you can attack on defense, and now you don't have that big man interior presence that AD was performing so well this season. So you're probably not winning the championship this season, and you're probably looking towards the future with Luca carrying the way, possibly with Austin Reeves there. And now you have the Lakers brand and you have the Lakers connections to build around Luca. What does this do for LeBron though? Because we know that LeBron has what, maybe 2-3 years left in the NBA. Does that mean the Lakers are punting on the 2025 season, or just seeing how far they can go, then look to rebuild for 2026 and build around that team to maybe contend for a championship? We'll see. For Dallas, again, so their unit now centered around Anthony Davis and Kyrie, and I think that's solid in the West. And by the way, we have to take note, even without Luca recently, OKC had not been performing well against Dallas. OKC, the top team in the NBA, leader of the Western Conference, lost to Dallas in the semifinals last NBA playoffs, and the team that right now, according to odds makers, most favored to win the NBA championship. So who are the other threats in the West? Well, Denver's always a threat, but they haven't been as good this season. Minnesota has fallen off. Houston looks solid, but they're young and inexperienced. I mean, Memphis looks solid too, and they're deep, but they're injury prone. So honestly, the West is kind of wide open because the only team that has really asserted superiority in the conference is an OKC team that Dallas has no fear facing. And now with the lineup with AD, and by the way, look, what's OKC's top weakness? The interior presence. Yes, Hartenstein has helped with that. It will be better when Chet comes back. But we saw Giannis and the Bucks dominate OKC physically in the NBA Cup Finals. And now with AD, with Gafford, with Lively, PJ Washington, there are a lot of guys in Dallas that can take advantage of that. Jason Kidd was a Lakers assistant coach in 2020 when Anthony Davis and LeBron led them to the championship. So he has a relationship with the Mavericks head coach as well. I think this gives Dallas a really legitimate shot to win the West this year. And we might look back on this trade as them being geniuses for punting on Luca but going win now. However, if they don't win and it doesn't work out, because take note, Anthony Davis has an injury history. He's been relatively healthy the last 2 seasons, but if this doesn't work out because of injuries or because the team gets older, Kyrie and AD are in their 30s, then we're going to look back on this move as Dallas basically giving up on a generational superstar who's going to win at least 2 MVPs in the next 8-10 years, make a few more finals appearances. And with the Lakers, especially now, I think Luka's ceiling just increased. So will Dallas regret it? That remains to be seen. It's crazy. I I just still can't get over it. I I'm in shock. Again, I think it is the craziest trade in NBA history. I think the Lakers won this trade slightly because they set themselves up for another generation of contending for a championship. But of course, if Dallas wins a championship, like I said, then clearly they will have won the trade. But again, it's an all in move, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. These are the kind of moments that make the NBA so dramatic, such a 24/7 sport that we cover, and something that we just love. We love the NBA because of the dramatics, the theatrics, the unpredictability of it. And ultimately, these teams will be judged for making this trade. This is a bookmark moment in NBA history, a sliding doors moment in NBA history. We are going to have podcasts. And by the way, I'm sorry for the background noise. There's some kind of fiesta going on right now near the neighborhood and celebrations. But we're going to bookmark this moment, look at it as a sliding doors moment, and essentially ask what would have happened if that trade did not happen, or what has happened because that NBA trade happened. Okay, let's read through some comments here. I'm as stunned as all of you. I still can't really believe it. MC says, I think the Mavs needed to make an upgrade in the wing spot to feel like a complete team, or need to may give up either Gafford or Lively. That makes sense because the four-man big rotation with AD, PJ Washington, Lively, Gafford. I mean, they gotta move at least one or two of those guys for wing help, right? I think that's the next step for them, and that's why I think this Jimmy thing is a possibility. The trade was a stunner. I agree. What a day. The fact that the Lakers were still able to keep Reeves, Rui, and Connect gives them so much flexibility right now and for the future. I agree. But let's not forget the Lakers gave up their best player on the team. Anthony Davis was the best player of the team, and he was playing like a top 10 guy in the NBA. So they gave up quite a lot too. Only need now for the Lakers is a good center. Maybe they have been seeking for one in the trade market. Maybe that will help them this season. But I think this is more of a move to rebuild to contend for 2026 onwards. We got a Miami Heat comment here. Shout out to my guy Bam Adebayo. Awesome game, 30-12-9. Game winner at the buzzer. Just really want to give him some love because it's been a really tough season for him. And it's nice to see him bounce back. MC says, I think the Mavs is number two in the West right now. Akio says Dallas went all in on winning now, and LA went all in on their future. I agree with that. Loke says the Mavs straight up Steve Nash Luca. If you were around for NBA at that point, well, you know what that means. Let's see any other comments here. Could we see LeBron in a GSW jersey? It's interesting, and I know people might want to make that assumption, but let's not forget LeBron just got Luka Doncic as a teammate. That's pretty damn good. He could allow LeBron to play for like 4 or 5 more years because now LeBron does not have to take a lot of the ball handling responsibility. That's a hidden storyline here. Take note of that. Utah won. They've been eyeing JHS since draft day. Well, good on Utah. Get something out of nothing there. Awesome. Are the Lakers done making moves? I don't think so. Maybe one, two more moves. As a Laker fan, Alonzo says, this is crazy. Don't know what to feel, bro. It's like hopes for championship. The season is over, but future is secured. Secured. Exactly. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice one thing in the present to get better for the future. I wish the Miami Heat learned that. They should have Jimmy Butler during the offseason, gotten better value. But anyway, I'm sure there will be more reports to come. There will be some kind of in-depth story by Ramona probably, or by Shams. Imagine if Woj was still around to break this news. Wouldn't that be crazy too? But Shams and Haynes are probably like the two premier newsbreakers right now. Anyway, it's getting too loud outside. I'm gonna end the emergency podcast here. We're gonna keep covering the story because I'm like I said, more is to come, and I can't wait to learn more because right now I am still in a state of shock. Thanks for joining me. Have yourselves a good weekend. Appreciate y'all.